Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here's my 2018 Ram 3500 welding rig. I'm going to try and get ahead of a bunch of questions because I'm sure I'm going to get about 1,000 of them about this truck. Bear with me. I'm going to try and go into as much detail as I feel necessary to explain a lot of things, because basically this entire truck is completely custom. It's for it being as stock looking as it can. There's a lot of things that I or somebody has put their hands on to make this work exactly the way I need it to. So I'll go into as much detail as I can to try to get ahead of the questions that's going to come in the future for this truck, so I can hopefully just reference people back to this video. I may end up doing two parts just because I don't want it to get too long, but here we go. I'm going to start at the front of the truck and we'll go to the back. Like I said, there's a lot more to a welding rig and it being extremely custom besides just what's on the back of the truck. So back in 2017, I ordered this truck from brand new. I looked and looked and looked for a 2018 like this with Aisin transmission, or Aisin, however you guys want to say it, 410 gears and a Cummins turbo diesel, because that was the highest horsepower rated setup you could get in the truck at the time. There wasn't any to be had that were already built or even on the slightly used market, and I didn't want to buy something with 60, 70,000 miles on it or whatever. So I ended up ordering it, and I wasn't in a big hurry, so I ended up just ordering the truck exactly the way I wanted it. We'll start from the front of the truck with this ranch hand bumper. Never wanted an aftermarket bumper on it. I preferred the way it looked with just a chrome factory bumper, but I hit a deer and it caved that whole front end of that truck in. Had to get a bunch of stuff replaced. I'll put a picture in here to show you guys what it looked like. It doesn't look bad from the picture, but basically everything from behind that bumper was destroyed. Nothing else, meaning the grill, headlights, paint, nothing on the front of the truck had to get replaced except the bumper and everything behind it. So with all that having to get done, it was about, I think that was back in 2020. So about COVID, where everybody had the same excuse about not getting parts in and getting stuff done. Well, if that truck's not on the payroll, it ain't getting paid. So sitting in a body shop don't make no money. So I put that bumper on it to hopefully, keep from having to shut the truck down again, and in the instance of hitting another deer, which it paid off because I ended up hitting another deer with it and like 3 or 4 turkeys since then. But anyway, bumper is ranch hand, which I'll give them credit. That thing's held up phenomenally. It like I said, it's killed another deer since I put it on, and all I've had to do was massage just this grill piece. It pushed that in a little bit and I had to push it back out, but other than that, that thing's held up great. I'll give them that. Engine wise, the truck has 156,000 miles on it right now. The engine locked up at 93,000 miles. So it's kind of not a long story, but it still kind of upsets me. EGR cracked, was letting coolant into the cylinders. Well, Chrysler says that that's what caused the head gasket to blow. Well, anybody that has ever owned a 6.7 Cummins has had or has heard of somebody having a blown head gasket on a stock engine, because that's just a common thing with them. Well, they said the EGR is what caused it. Well, emissions equipment's only covered for 60,000 miles. And they said that's what caused the engine failure. So $23,000 later, I got a new motor in that truck at 93,000 miles. So my faith in Chrysler went way down the drain. Leading up to that point, at 51,000 miles, transmission went out of it, just pulling an empty trailer. And Chrysler covered that because the truck was completely stock, obviously, besides the way this looks. This truck has basically looked this way since 42 miles. I drove it from the dealership to a shop to get leveling kit and tires and spacers put on it, and drove it to the farm and put the bed on it, which that's a whole process, which I'll get into. But 42 miles this truck has looked like this. And they covered the transmission, so I had some faith in them. Whenever that finally locked up, I was like, oh, well, this is perfect. This is the whole reason I've been leaving it stock this whole time for this day. Well, they gave me a dose of reality there. So got the new engine put in, drove it from the dealership to here, tuned it, removed all excess equipment, and I haven't had a problem with it since. I change the oil religiously, have since I've owned it. It's always had either Schaefer's or Amsoil, full synthetic, every 5,000 miles, documented. Thank God, that was one of the reasons Chrysler ended up giving me like a $5,000 goodwill warranty or some crap like that, just because I could prove to them that, hey, you know, I take care of this truck better than most people take care of their kids, sadly. But they were able to at least give me something. But anyway, so the transmission got replaced, engine's been replaced. and I don't want you to think I hate this truck. I love this truck. This is exactly what I want. I mean, I laid this whole truck out. This is exactly how I designed the truck, and it works perfectly for me. I've just had terrible luck with it. So suspension wise, that'll be another big question. This truck currently is sitting on a 4-inch super lift suspension lift. And the reason I did that, there's definitely better lifts out there. But the name of the game on a truck like this, because you don't know where you're going to be, you don't know what state you're going to be in, you don't know if you're going to have support from aftermarket companies or anything. A super lift 4-inch suspension lift uses all factory parts. The only things that the lift adds are like those brackets right there. They just drop the factory radius arms down, whereas other lifts come with different radius arms that use different bushings, whole mess of different parts. Comes with different coil springs, and again, just different brackets to lower factory parts. The name of the game is keeping stuff as factory as possible, but making it to where you can use the truck the way you need to. Because I can still go to any Chrysler dealership and get any part I need for the front end of that truck, even with it having a lift. So when I first bought the truck, I put a leveling kit on it, and that was fine, but I've been GM my whole life, and leveling kits basically just stretch out your factory tolerances of all your suspension components. So I understand a GM and a Ram are completely different front end designs, but that lift is too cheap to even worry about having a leveling kit ruining anything on the front of that truck prematurely. 156,000 miles, haven't replaced a single part on the front end of that truck. Everything works perfect. So that's the front suspension. Rear suspensions, 2-inch lift blocks that comes with that kit. But I also have Airlift, I think they're 5,000. The Airlift 5,000 airbags on it with the wireless controller, which I hate. I'll get in here and show you. I showed you. So it's got a wireless airlift controller, so I can set each bag independently, because once I get to that bed, I'll explain that a little bit better. But that has been perfect. I've replaced one controller in 5 years. Other than that, I haven't so much as tightened a fitting or redid a hose whenever I first installed. I mean, this thing is, which again, I take a lot of time to make sure everything is not perfect, but installed as well as I can possibly install it, you know, to protect things and make sure that something's not going to go, you know, getting in the way of a shock moving or whatever. But excellent product. I've had great luck with that. As far as the frame on the truck, so it's kind of hard to tell, you know, in a video, but if I park this truck next to another pickup, this truck was a dually pickup truck whenever I bought it. It wasn't a cab and chassis or a chassis cab. It had a pickup bed on it. A factory bed is about another 10 inches longer than this bed. I ended up cutting the frame rails off right behind the leaf spring mounts. And I'll put a picture in to show you guys what that looks like. But on a right-of-way, which it's going to seem kind of ridiculous because it's a crew cab truck, but on a right-of-way, you want the shortest truck you can get because you're only allowed so much easement to work on. Well, if you have a big mound of dirt over here and you're working on pipe this way, in order to turn that truck around, you're either going all the way to the clear other end of the right-of-way to turn around, or you're backing all the way back out. Well, I mean, it doesn't solve the problem by cutting the bed off, but it certainly helps because I can turn this truck around in a lot of places most people would have a lot more difficulty in. And I mean, I think it looks good too. So, tint, that'll be another big question. Okay, so this truck is a Laramie. So it came with, you know, leather, the whole deal. I did not get a sunroof. Don't want a sunroof, never wanted one. But other than that, it's got bucket seats. You know, well, I'll show you the interior here in a little bit. But so it had the factory tint on the back windows, the side windows, the back side windows, and the very back window. Well, you're basically in these trucks all day, every day. You know, whether you're driving, moving them, whatever, or, you know, you're taking your lunch break in them. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere in the summer, that truck gets extremely hot during the day, and you don't want to let it run all day long either. So 5% tint on the front windows, 5% over the factory, 20% on the back windows, all of them. And then I also have 35% on the windshield with a 5% brow over that. So that thing is like climbing into a cave whenever you get in there. Nobody can hardly see inside of it. It's like I've had countless people walk up to that window, put their hands, you know, over their eyes, and still can't see anything in there, which is fine. That's the way I want it. So tint's good, suspension's good, bumper, factory ram running boards. All right, let's go inside the truck and then we'll get to the bed. All right, I did not clean this truck up because, well, it's a work truck. I need to before I go back to work, but there it is. It's pretty well. Okay, so it's a stock Laramie truck, so I don't have anything special going on here. This is a controller for my light bar, which I'll get to on the bed. Let's see my aftermarket oil gauge because I had some issues with the old engine. I got a Striker radio converted to CB because, so out on the right-of-ways, the guys I work with now don't do it, but I used to work with guys that's how we would talk on the right-of-ways because pipelines may go where cell phones don't. So if you have CB, a big CB like that one, or a radio, you can pretty well talk up and down right-of-way all you need without having to have a phone. I showed you the wireless air controller, back seat, rags to wipe things off after you wash the truck. Milwaukee pack out drawer work great. Keep all my extra markers, pens, paperwork, stuff like that. Batteries for chart boxes, whatever. Just different books, weld procedures. I used to have seat covers, but towels work way easier. They get messed up. I just throw them away and buy new ones. Printer for printing anything out that I need. That's a paper towel holder. Probably going to come out, but I usually keep my hard hat, vest, work gloves, safety glasses, stuff like that all back here, just so it doesn't get all messed up riding around in these boxes. But I built like a little platform here, so my battery charger, I don't have extra batteries in here right now, but they'll ride right in here like that. I can hold a couple extra batteries. That's pretty well it for over here. I hate to have to have a crew cab, but come wintertime, you have so much crap you got to throw back here between your jackets and extra clothes. I mean, your bibs. You end up with so much stuff. You got to have a crew cab if you want to work in the winter and not have to pack it all in there or have it freezing in a box on the back or whatever. Passenger side of the truck is pretty simple. It is the helper's half, basically. Nothing much over here. That's my power cord for my printer and battery charger and iPad, or yeah, well, I carry an iPad and a laptop and stuff like that too. It's just not in here. Oh, that's another thing I can show you. So right here, I mounted a Ram 1.5 inch ball, a Ram mount ball, and you can buy different bases and stuff to where I just have the actual Ram laptop mounts right here and takes up most of this side. It sucks. It takes up way too much room over here. So I put that piece right in there, and my laptop sits right here, perfect. Nothing's in the way. That works great. That's probably one of the best things I've done to the inside of this truck for that laptop. But like I said, this is a helper's half. Not much over here. Back seat, same deal. Nothing really going on. This is where a helper will keep his lunchbox and bag or his coats, bibs, whatever. Most guys that run trucks like this, they'll take this back seat completely out and, you know, set all this up to where you can fit a lot more stuff in this back seat. Well, I can't really do that. I got a couple kids I got to be able to haul around and, you know, take to school and pick them up, whatever. So I got to be able to use my back seat yet, which is nice. It keeps me from collecting a whole bunch of extra crap that I don't need. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make that the first video. We've covered all the truck, suspension-wise, powertrain, and then we'll go into this bed on part 2, just because I don't want this video getting too terribly long. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys. Part 2 will be the bed, and that'll be worth watching. A lot of cool stuff going on here, so check back, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.